Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to our YouTube live stream. Are you considering applying for Canada's Startup Visa program? Or perhaps you're an existing Startup Visa applicant under process for your PR to Canada? Or maybe you just started selling Startup Visa programs since the last 1 or 2 years as an agency, and now you're feeling lost or confused. Or maybe you're a designated organization under the Startup Visa program and truly feel sold out by the Canadian government and are looking for answers anywhere. Maybe you're working for the planning department of the IRCC, feel bored and are roaming the internet to find out what everyone is saying or selling for the Canadian Startup Visa program. Whatever situation you're in, I'm sure you'll find this live stream either educational, entertaining, or maybe both. No special effects, no editing, no censorship, just the exposed truth, like the rest of our videos on our YouTube channel. Quick introduction. My name is Reza, founder of Ingway, your solution provider for residency citizenship investments around the world. We have an active portfolio of more than 20 jurisdictions around the world for serious professionals, families, business owners seeking optimized residency citizenship solutions, overseas investments that can open opportunities and doors to them, and keeping more of your money in your pocket rather than paying high taxes to governments who seem to represent less and less every day of their voting block. We work with both B2B and B2C channels. What does this mean? It means we cooperate with financial investment advisors, multifamily offices, real estate firms, developers, regional centers, and directly as well with you, individual investors and families. At Ingway, we have successfully helped thousands of investors and professionals since 2018 with overseas investment migration programs. Our existing portfolio includes tax residencies, real estate investments that lead to residency, zero tax personal income jurisdictions, crypto-friendly, and direct citizenship programs without actually moving. Whether you're seeking to diversify your assets, aiming to retire comfortably without paying more to the tax man, and enhance your quality of life with positive cash flow, or perhaps even direct citizenship without moving for yourself, your clients, or maybe future generations, we do offer a diverse range of options for you. So let's get into it, folks. We're not a typical sales company. We educate you. We give you all the options. We give you the disadvantages, advantages, risks, returns, matching your short, medium, long-term goals. And then you make the decision. We're a custom solution provider. Our global partnerships and multilingual team ensure that no matter where you're coming from or where you're planning to go or invest in, we're there to support the whole process. Let's get into it now. Second take. Lots of information and feedback from various designated organizations regarding the Startup Visa program, Canada's famous business immigration program, the only federal business immigration program that leads to direct PR. Let's talk about its future and what the IRCC may be thinking, if anything. In this live stream, we're not going to attempt to guess when the IRCC may announce changes, since we're tired of that and we've failed miserably. Seems like the IRCC is now outsmarting all the designated organizations and consultants and agencies and lawyers, and they like to keep everyone in suspense. So far, it's worked. However, the purpose of this live stream is to put together all the different pieces of information we have been collecting in the market from designated organizations and also IRCC trends and SUV processing, whether it's work permits and PR, and mimic a Sherlock-Holmes-style deduction. We were expecting an SUV program announcement in November by the IRCC. We were sold on that, okay? But it didn't happen. However, it doesn't mean that a change won't happen ever. No, it's just that at this point, nobody can pinpoint the exact internal IRCC timelines to announce a change or implement a change. Here's what we know, which is very interesting. IRCC has sent new surveys, internal surveys, to its Canada Tech Network incubators, which are the priority incubators, regarding detailed updates on their startups, which they have endorsed under the SUV program, and other factors. Why we find this interesting is that none of the other non-priority incubators or even priority venture capital or angel investor organizations have received this specific survey from the IRCC. Similar to 2023, when IRCC was collecting information in secret and planning a huge change, which was announced in April 2024, but they only consulted Canada Tech Network incubators and nobody else. It seems like the IRCC is brewing up something, that's for sure. Here are the 4 key hints we have received from various designated organizations on what IRCC is asking about as of end of 2025, which may be leading indicators on the various SUV program revisions that they're considering or have on the table. Okay. Number 1, IRCC has been putting a lot of emphasis on SUV work permit holders and applicants. They have been requesting very, very detailed questions and updates from Canada Tech Network incubators on their SUV co-founder statuses with their work permits. When did they arrive? If they were refused, how many times they've applied, when they were approved, when did they land, how long they've been inside Canada with a work permit, how many in a group are inside Canada with a work permit, and also a lot more detailed status updates about each startup's progress, each of these startups that these incubators have endorsed. This gives us some insight into IRCC's overall goal and policy. Since they want to reduce the number of temporary foreign workers in the country, and it's no hidden secret, it could be something or could be nothing. We don't know. But the question remains, why would IRCC be issuing open work permits for 3 years under the SUV program when they plan to reduce the number of total temporary foreign workers in the country through all the programs as part of the overall revised immigration goals and policies going forward? Will they increase refusals for SUV work permits, revise the program by limiting durations of the work permit, or perhaps increasing eligibility criteria for applicants for SUV work permits? Only time will tell. Number 2, minimum investment. This has been something that IRCC has been in discussion with all the designated organizations for more than 12 months. They want to see tangible minimum investment by each startup group. The magic number being discussed with the designated organizations, $200,000, which makes sense when you compare to other average provincial nominee entrepreneur programs, which range from 150,000 to 250,000, sometimes 100,000, right? And other business work permit programs, which require significant benefit for the Canadian economy, besides the social cultural benefits. It's not a significantly high investment, and it's also not too low. We don't know if they'll implement this change at 200,000 or 250 because it's for a group of 5. So that number can change. However, this has been on the table for discussion between IRCC and designated organizations for a very long time. And we believe it will. Why? Is because most startups don't invest. IRCC rarely sees tangible investment. Number 3, job creation. Will job creation be mandatory or become mandatory for the SUV program, just like the provincial entrepreneur programs? Because minimum 1 job creation or 2 in those programs across all these provinces, territories, and regions in Canada have always been the cornerstone of what the IRCC prefers. The IRCC loves it when startups or any immigrant entrepreneurs hire Canadians on Canadian soil. Not if you're hired Canadian overseas, but in Canada. Has this happened with the SUV program? No, it hasn't. Will it be incorporated into the minimum investment eligibility we just discussed? Perhaps, right? What can you spend $200,000 on anyways? Yeah, I'm sure you can hire programmers forever and throw money at them forever to develop a product, but perhaps job creation can make it feel more tangible for IRCC. They want to see the money. You know that old movie, I don't know if you saw that, Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire, show me the money. That's what they want. And most startups have not been able to do that. Number 4, mandatory reporting to the IRCC on your startup progress, including minimum investment. We all know all designated organizations under Startup Visa program have to submit an annual status report to the IRCC under startup groups they've endorsed at the end of each year. But this has been a formality and very lightweight, just some bureaucratic paperwork, to be honest with you. Nobody was really taking it that seriously. Now, IRCC is digging deep. What the talk on the street is that a mandatory direct reporting requirement will be created from the startup groups to IRCC every 12 months, meaning every 12 months you got to send an update. But not just, hey, I just incorporated, or, I'm on the beach sun tanning. No, regarding key criteria which the IRCC will define and dictate on what this report should entail. So it's maybe a template, who knows, or key criteria, not some fluffy updates that most startups randomly send IRCC. We have been advocating all of our startups to send updates for the past 3 years, no matter if IRCC is requesting it or not. It's just good common sense and best practice based on our experience of handling startup visa for over 8 years. However, the question remains, if IRCC will take 1 year or more to issue a PR file number for startup visa, how is anyone expected to properly communicate with them and send them updates? Well, will it be facilitated through the designated organization? Perhaps. You don't need a file number. More questions than answers as usual. However, some designated organizations are more engaged with their startup founders. Some are less. None of them are created equally, as we all know, or should know by now. What is the timeline to implement these changes? Well, I've given up, as you probably figured out by now. No more predictions from our end. I was sold on the November announcement change, but it didn't happen. We're not going to guess anymore, folks. If this was a poker game, I'd fold at this point. IRCC is probably the best poker player you'll ever play against. They'll just clean house. They're a bit slow to catch up. So they're those players that kind of tag along. They don't win big or lose big, but they're just monitoring what everyone's doing. They're usually behind 2 years. That's just the fact, at least. But now they've caught up and they're cleaning house. However, what we know for the fact is that IRCC has set a deadline for the Canada Tech Network incubators to update them on all the responses of this internal survey by January 15th, 2026 on all their startups. What does that mean? Basically, that we are still left in the dark, including the designated organizations, on what could happen. The funny thing is that the designated organizations probably know less than you do, because you're probably researching online, talking to other groups, startup groups in your network, networking around, figuring out what's going on, getting that pieces of information from different sources, Sherlock-Holmes-style. Otherwise, why would you even be tuned in to this video figuring out? So you probably know more than they do. It's funny, it's kind of amusing, but it's a little bit sad as well. Now you're wondering about the processing timelines and pausing or stopping the program. Is it all possible for startup visa? How come that didn't make our list today in terms of the processing time as pausing or stopping? Of course it did, but it has its own special commentary on this very sensitive subject. Will the IRCC pause or start a visa program? That's the $1 million question everyone is asking. And I mean everyone. This has been on everyone's mind, that will the IRCC stop the program? Will they pause the program or stop new intakes? This is certainly a possibility. But this is what we have heard as a leading indicator on what the IRCC is thinking from the Canada Tech Network incubators. It's unlikely they will stop the program. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. But they may reduce the cap of each designated organization endorsing the startup. So instead of pausing it, they're indirectly reducing the number of new applicants that can apply for the SUV program. If you add new investment criteria and other eligibility changes, if any, this can definitely limit the pipeline of new applicants coming into that backlog of startup visa. But let's be honest, with an 85-year processing time, not 10 years, I don't think a lot of people will actually apply for this program, even if it's wide open. Next question. What about the backlog of startup visa applicants and the IRCC processing timelines for this program? Well, does the IRCC actually care that the processing time is now 85 years? You may be wondering why Reza is saying 85 years and not 10 years. It's simple. The IRCC processing tool maxes out at 10 years. And the funny thing is that nobody talks about that online, and everyone just focusing on the 10 years. Here are the facts. Bill C-12, which is, I guess, the old Bill C-2, which gives unanimous power to the government of Canada in the best interest of the public and security, and the Minister of Immigration to cancel ongoing active and pending applications, and even people who are inside Canada and are non-residents that may hold visitor visas, work permits, study permits, and whatnot. Okay? This will pass in Parliament. It's just a matter of time. That's a fact. Can this tool be used by the Minister of Immigration? Of course. Will they use it for immigration purposes? Maybe, probably. It's like the nuclear option. You know, when a superpower or a country has that nuclear arsenal and they have nuclear capabilities, that's always on the table. And this is the equivalent of the Canadian Immigration Department's nuclear capacity. Those weapons, they're being weaponized with Bill C-12. But the cold hard truth is different. By extending the processing timeline from 10 to 85 years, whatever you want to believe, for this sort of visa programs, and many other programs are quite long, they have accomplished what BC-12 could not. And even before Bill C-12 is passed, this is ingenious. One, they have made it impossible to apply for writ of manibus in the judicial system of Canada. If you don't know what I'm talking about, discuss with your legal rep, please. Number two, they have made the program so unappealing to applicants with the long processing times and uncertainty for the future that less and less people will apply for this program no matter what. Basically, number three, they have killed the program without using Bill C-12. Pausing or stopping the program at all. They didn't need to. I call this the Churchill World War II maneuver. Only the smartest, ingenious strategists could have devised such a plan by implementing or killing the program or making it unappealing and controlling the new intake without using any special bill from the parliament or even stopping the program, because they would have received a backlash from the incubators and the VCs and those big lobby groups. But they got all this done without touching the program's intake or any parliamentary bill that will give the Minister of Immigration superpowers, super nuclear powers. Remember, folks, we're always posting about key details for investors, families, business owners, new programs, policy changes, tax residencies, overseas investment solutions, whether it's for ROI, peace of mind, plan B, or asset diversification. And if that's what you're interested in, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more deep down dive videos. And if you say, why? Well, it's free and it's very easy to unsubscribe if you don't like it. It's still free. What about priority versus non-priority processing times for the start of visa program? Is there a difference for the PR processing, not the work permit, because the work permit doesn't matter? And that's one of the questions of our audience members. Will the Canada Tech Network incubators process it faster? Because they're priority. So are angel investors, so are venture capital, right? What's the difference between the priority category that has been implemented since April 2024 and today? Well, we haven't seen a lot of tangible proof. There is a difference. However, nobody can say for certain based on actual data of what this means. So far, no priority starter groups have received a confirmation of PR that have applied after April 2024 when the caps came in and the new priority streams were implemented by the government through new ministerial instructions. But the policy remains in place and is in fact true that priority endorsed startup groups receive the priority in processing the case before the non-priority. That's a ministerial instruction. It's there. The reason for this is IRCC's continuous dialogue with the Canada Tech Network incubators, favoring them over all other incubators, venture capital, and angel investors. This gives us a signal that they consider the Canada Tech Network incubators as their true, trusted eyes and ears in the market. They're feelers. not the rest of the desert organizations. We all know there's a lot of mistrust in the market here, folks. Let's be honest. Let's address the elephant in the room. Between designate organizations and IRCC, between IRCC and startup applicants, you're guilty till proven innocent. Between IRCC lawyers and immigration consultants, between applicants and designate organizations and even their own legal representatives and lawyers or immigration consultants. This is a fact that cannot be denied. This would make an amazing Netflix reality TV show on all the mistrust in the startup ecosystem. But can this trust be regained or reset? I can't answer that question. Not going to try either. What does this all mean for new startup visa applicants? These potential changes or what's happening now? 1, long processing times ahead for your PR applications if you're applying. 2, high refusal rates for your work permit applications. 3, if you apply with a non-priority stream designated organizations, you should probably plan to apply when you're 3 to 4 years old. I'm not joking. Because by the time you receive your PR, you'll be approximately 89 years old. Right? It's just, like I always say, plan ahead. So maybe it's not you who are applying, maybe it's your future children or maybe your grandchildren. You can make an application for them when they're 3 or 4 years old as co-founders. I think that's what IRCC was really thinking about, no? Number 4, maybe consider another country like US, Europe, or other regions, wherever you like, which can give you residencies in 3 months, 6 months, or worst case, 15, 18 months. Worst case, 2 years instead of 85 years. And then apply for Canada in the next 5 to 6 years when the dust settles. That's what a smart investor would be doing right now. What does this all mean for existing startup visa applicants who are in the backlog? 1, uncertainty until IRCC, the Canadian Immigration Department, actually announces their changes, which means they actually communicate their expectations from startup founders under the SUV program instead of keeping everyone in the dark. 2, potentially tougher criteria for SUV work permit renewals. 3, higher refusals of work permits with any justification by the embassies or IRCC, purely irrelevant refusal reasons just for the sake of refusing and not letting more and more people enter Canada with a work permit. 4, you need to be patient as an existing SUV applicant. Patience is key and the only variable which can, at this point, help you get through. 5, have a plan B ready if you don't already. And then, of course, remember, this is always my advice. You can always...
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. Can you repeat that?
Oh, sorry, that was my Siri picking up my voice. Keep in mind, you can always diversify and looking at other investment opportunities through your startup program, right? So let's say there is...
Did you try again?
Let's say there's an opportunity to invest in another industry, but you've got to align it with your own startup product, right? So don't go selling oranges and apples when you're doing a software for financial industry. But all I mean is you can create new verticals. That's what a normal business would do and integrate it into your startup. Like, Google started a search engine and they had, emails and Google Workspace and news and analytics, and pretty much they control half the world along with OpenAI now, right? Besides Elon Musk. So all I'm saying is think outside of the box. Don't be stuck in the box waiting like a little kid till IRCC comes and, blows the roof off. Conclusion. IRCC will eventually let everyone know what they're thinking and planning, but it's a guessing game for now. When? How? The Canadian SUV program is less appealing than before, and new applicants are reconsidering their actual options for other programs or even other countries. Program options in Canada for PR are limited, if any, and sometimes with unrealistic timelines or expectations and uncertainty. When we will continue, of course, to keep you updated on IRCC announcements and any hints, clues that we may find in the market. In the meantime, stay strong and continue forward as startup founders under process. And if you're just considering applying for the startup program, make sure your legal representative is providing you all the facts and keeping you updated on the latest news. And even though IRCC is not really informing anyone and the designated organizations are in the dark as well, but you've got to be aware. If there's no news, at least know there's no news, or there's no updates, or there's no policies, right? If you like, yes, that's, I think I need a coffee. If you're searching for international investment hacks, overseas investment solutions that may lead to residency or citizenship, tax relief, crypto friendly, whatever it is, our goal is to keep more money in your pocket than paying taxes to your governments for politicians to blow. We provide key analysis and expose truth about program policies, updates around the world, so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for free. Latest updates, ultra-friendly and optimized tax solutions, direct citizenship programs. If you're tired of taxes and you see no point in paying 30, 40, or 50% personal income tax, it's time to think outside of the box. At Ingway, we've dedicated customized solutions for your needs with your cross-border overseas investment solution provider. We offer a variety of programs that match your goals: transparency, choice, and security. That's what we commit to. With comprehensive insurance and client trust accounts in our North American banking institutions, we protect your interests. Plus, our multilingual team supports applicants from over 55 countries. Ready to take the next step? Fill out a 60-second intake form. 60 seconds. If you don't have 60 seconds, how do you expect me to get on a call with you for 30 minutes? Or book a one-on-one session using the links provided in this video or under this video. We've got some comments and questions. Ash H8F. Hello, Reza. Hello back, Ash. Canada Tech Network incubator will process fast. Is that real? Like I said, we don't have tangible data, but it is a ministerial instruction and it will be done. Salam, everyone. Sam X6K5Q. I feel like that's your license plate number, Sam, but that's pretty cool. Hello, back to you. Sabri7 says, hi, thanks for all your explanations. Are these new IRCC policy changes mainly because some applicants abused the immigration program, or are they due to the flaws in the previous policies? Well, first of all, Sabri7, these are not implemented. We were talking about potential changes, feedback we've been receiving from and insider information from designated organizations, from various ones. So these are things that have been in discussion. These are points that the IRCC is considering. Okay, so let's clarify that. But why they're making these changes? Yes, there's mistrust, right? So abuse by other organizations and people and agencies of the program. Plus, the program was very vague. The program didn't align expectations. They didn't say, like the provincial entrepreneur program, you need to do this, 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 this. When you do that, we'll give you your PR, like the UK innovator visa. Canada didn't. So it was kind of like I feel like they were just sitting in the back seat and saying, hey, here's a program. And then they woke up way later, probably 10 years later after the program was launched, the original pilot in 2013, and said, whoa, what's going on? And then this whole thing blew up or is about to blow up. So that's what we believe. Safa Saleh. Hi, Reza. Hey, Safa. Nice to see you, by the way. I currently hold a UAE Golden Visa. Nice. And my salary is sufficient to live in Dubai. I'm patiently waiting for my PR under the Start Visa program. Is there any plan B you would advise? Safa, you must be enjoying Dubai, the lifestyle and everything. Canada doesn't have a plan B for Canada, right? So what we usually recommend are other programs that can potentially, like residency-based investment programs that can lead to citizenship, right? You've got, the world is your oyster. You can do Europe, you can do South America. It depends on your budget, timeline, and ultimate goal. And remember, folks, if anything happens to your startup visa, you can always apply in the future with future programs, 7, 8, 10 years from now. Doesn't mean Canada's shut down forever. It just means right now they're sleeping and they're not opening the door for guests to come into the house, and they're trying to kick everyone out. Okay, so your plan B could be for now to stay in Dubai. It could be to obtain a residency in a country that can lead to citizenship without you moving from Dubai, right? Or perhaps if you don't want to go to an English-speaking country, a lot of options in Europe. If you do have the budget for an EB5 US, you can get a green card in 2 years. If you don't, then perhaps it's not the right time. However, keep in mind, word of caution for people in the UAE and Dubai is that depending on your nationality, if there's any political issues, they can call you and kick you out in 24 hours. We've seen it. Qataris and so on. So having a second citizenship sometimes is your insurance policy for UAE. And that's why everyone purchases one in the UAE, is because if they have passports where there may be political issues, and we're seeing it now, Pakistan, Iran, Africa, that second citizenship allows you to convert your residency to that citizenship. So you are neutral, or you're hedging your risk of staying in the UAE forever, because we all know every year there's some political issue somewhere with somebody, with two countries or more. Ash H8F says, what you think about processing times with priority? How much time it will take? Estimate. It's a tough question, Ash. It is tough. I don't know. I mean, people who are in the market saying, 1 to 2 years, I mean, they must be smoking crack or something. Right now, it's longer. Originally, we thought it would also be fast, but now in the last 6 months or even 3 months, like since September, that the IRCC has provided more insight into the backlog and their processing targets, it will take longer. I don't think it will take 10 years, but at this point, we need to get clarification from the IRCC before we can make more assumptions. Sabri7 says, if an applicant obtains a new citizenship after moving to Canada, when should this be updated? During the CEC application or PNP application? And what is the correct way to submit this update? Yeah, so whenever there is an application that you're making, so let's say you purchase a citizenship or obtain another citizenship, Sabri7. The next time you submit a renewal or they request an update from it, that's when you update it, because your residential address hasn't changed. It's not like your family composition has changed or a medical issue or criminality. Those would be significant. You adding 2 or 3 more citizenships is fine. You just update it. That's what we've done for our clients. In the meantime, while they were waiting during COVID, or even now, we've helped them obtain other residencies and citizenships. Okay, so you don't need to go out and immediately tell them, hey, I just got a passport, I just got a residency, right? Folks, my battery is dying. Hold on 1 second. I know this is embarrassing, but hey, what can I say? Give me 1 second, folks. This must be the weirdest thing anyone has done ever in a live stream. But again, I'm not everyone, and I can do anything I want, and people will call me crazy, but that's okay. Sometimes crazy is good. So that's, and this is a great point, Sabri7. What you have to do is consider that people who apply for Canada Startup Visa, they should not think they're confined to just the Canadian program, right? It's not that you can actually say, oh, I'm not allowed to apply for residency. I can't move to Europe or another country or obtain another citizenship. You can do anything you want. There's no restrictions. You can also invest in other businesses, right? So the Canadian Startup Visa is its own path or lane, but at the same time, you've got your other lanes that you can explore while that lane is under process. You could be like Safa, you could be in UAE with a 10-year golden visa and a second passport that you buy from, let's say, I don't know, who knows, one of the passport programs that are interesting these days. Well, the upcoming Argentina, maybe Nauru, maybe a Grenada, right? And then still have your Canada Startup Visa program, because you're not in a rush at this point, right? Ash H8F, the target is 500 people for the application. Yes, 500 per year. Ash H8F. That is correct. That has been communicated by the government. Safa, thanks, Reza. Always advice is fruitful. Appreciate that. No problem, Safa. I know it's a long, long road ahead. It's a little bit of a challenge for everyone, but everyone is in this boat. And that's why we're posting more information like this. And to be very honest, with a lot of agencies, law firms, consultants are posting information about how you can get your PR quickly and all that. But and making an unrealistic picture. We like to be the devil's advocate, right? And give you what we're hearing, what we're seeing in the market. We're seeing SUV work permit refusals. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing IRCC is holding their cards close to their chest. No designated organization really knows what IRCC is thinking, really knows what they're planning to do. This is a guessing game. So literally, we're at a poker game. This is like a massive poker game. Have you ever seen a poker game with 42,000 people? Well, let's reduce the dependence. So let's say 10,000. We've got a poker game. So this is what the Startup Visa program is. It's a poker game with 10,000 players at one table. And there's one IRCC, okay? And maybe they're the house, okay? And everyone's trying to figure out what are they doing? And nobody knows because they are a good poker player. And it's just a guessing game. Betting, waging, raising, folding. Right now, they've got everyone listening. They've got everyone on the edge looking to see what will go on. And it's risky. It's risky. So Ash H8F, someone said the target is 500 SUVKs, not a 500 people, include family members. No, it's people. It is people. It's not cases. It's permanent residents. So if you're a family of 6, it's 6. It's not 6 co-founders. That's not how IRCC. So imagine the immigration target. Like, look at the policies when they said we want to let 350, 60, whatever thousands of people per year in. And I stopped looking at these stats. Why? It's because they change it every month, right? So I don't care if it's 320, 50, whatever. It's all the same. They change it every month. It's like the weather. But did they say main applicants? No, it's people they issue PRs to. And that main target, then it goes into sub-targets for each of these programs. And then if you're talking about 500, then are you talking about main applicants? Of course you're not. So whoever is saying that is probably the same people who are saying it'll take a year or two for a PR. Okay. So hopefully I've given some insight. And again, this is just a Sherlock-Holmes-style deduction to see when we can create some light bulbs for everyone on what the IRCC is considering. What are some things that are pain points that they're really looking at? The IRCC change is coming. We were sold on November. It didn't happen. Will it happen next month? Will it happen in February, March, or April next year? We have no clue. Nobody has a clue. We stopped guessing. Yes, again, they're very good poker players, this IRCC. Ash H8F says, thanks, Reza. SK9999Y3K, your smile gives off the best vibes. Thank you. Great feedback for such a gloomy topic. But we're here to give you the information, folks. We're here to analyze it. We're here to deduct Sherlock-Holmes-style. And as I said, the SUV program right now is a very large poker table with 10,000 main applicants, co-founders at the table, including lawyers, consultants, agencies, and the IRCC, playing to see who will clean house. And to be very honest with you, we're all playing with a disadvantage. We were all winning, but then now the IRCC has caught up and they will take no prisoners. Folks, key takeaways from today. You can apply for other residencies and citizenships while you're waiting for the Canada Startup Visa. You can move to other countries and say, it's kind of like those retirement funds you create for your children, right? And eventually it pays off. But, in the meantime, you're doing 10 other things. But it's kind of like a little piggy bank. That's what it is. That this is a long-term investment. You can apply for other residents. You can move. You can get other citizenships. You can move around, do whatever, invest in other businesses at the same time, or create verticals in your startup. Smart investors will create new verticals in their startups to leverage this long processing time and to survive. Because how can you survive with this ever-changing technological change that's happening now? We had the Industrial Revolution, then we had the internet boom, we've got the AI boom now. So, and that's changing fast in milliseconds. You've got to be prepared. And in an innovative startup, you have to be careful, unless you're based on some agricultural startup or chemical process or manufacturing. If it's technology driven, you've got to be very careful. You got to be on your toes as a startup co-founder. Okay, folks, it's great seeing you. Next Thursday, we're talking about EB5 and what to watch out for so your project doesn't go bankrupt or go into insolvency in the US, because EB5, as we all know, gives you a conditional green card in 2 years through a reserved visa allocation, or maybe a non-reserved visa allocation if you're not from a retrogression-based country, which is over its annual limit. We're covering that. And then again, with Panama, Portugal, we're covering all sorts of things, folks. And it's going to be good. It's going to be exciting. There are plan Bs available. There are other. Don't feel like you're like in a jail cell with startup visa. Think outside of the box. You can't dwell on the past. You can't dwell on the fact that the Canadian government is making us all hurt. You've got to think future, your children, your family, yourself. Okay, this is an investment. Fine, start a visa. But at the same time, you got to look at 10 other things. If you don't, you're a sitting duck. And remember, folks, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Take it easy. See you soon. Thanks for everyone joining Ash H8F, SK999Y3K, Safa as always, and Sam X6K5Q. I think that's your license plate number. I'll keep an eye out on the street. Okay, and the folks in the dark, in the shadows that are not commenting or doing anything. Like this video if you like it. If you don't like it. It's up to you. We love you no matter where you are, where you're from, what language you speak. We're here to talk about the truth every week, Thursday. Take care, folks. Have a good one. See you next Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Standard Eastern Time. Bye-bye now.